How long have we been married?
100 years.
Well, probably feels like it. 66.
66, yeah.
Okay,
That's probably a record.
for me.
Me too. And then they try it first. I'm Dick Miller, and I was born in 1929 of a family of 10. I was number 9 of 10 kids. My dad was a welder, and he worked out at the south end of town.
You looked up to Gordy, didn't you?
Oh, Gordy, yeah, Chuck too, though.
Your
Chuck
brothers?
was a fast one,
Mm-hmm.
but I knew it in the first place. Always did.
Running track, doing her
Running track,
running hurdles.
hurdles.
Hurdles was a specialty.
Yeah. And we were all a happy family.
I was born in 1934, and I was the only child, and because my dad walked out when I was 9 months old, I never knew him. My mother had to go to work, so my grandmother and grandfather raised me. I admired her for taking me in when I was 3 years old and raising me and make sure that I went to church and with her. And I went to summer Bible school, and I accepted Jesus when I was, I think, probably about 12. And we've always grown up in a church, and had a lot of relationships built there. I met Dick when I was 16, and my best girlfriend growing up from kindergarten on was dating his younger brother Wayne, and I needed a date for the prom. And so she says, well, Wayne has a brother that just got a new car and he isn't seeing anybody right now. Let's see if we can get something going here. So they did, and that was about 70 years ago. And then we met in April, and the dance was in May. We met and introduced, and he gave me a piece of juicy fruit gum, and we went for a ride with Wayne and Nancy. Ended up back at his parents' house where he was living, listened to some music, practiced dancing because we were going to be going to a prom, and that was our first date. And we saw each other 2 or 3 times a week, and then the Korean War broke out in September of that year, and he received papers to go down for his induction physical, and of course he was accepted, and he left in January of 1951 and served 2 years in the Army. Joined the Airborne right away because instead of getting $100 a month, they paid $150. And he thought that was great, and besides he wanted to be able to jump out of airplanes and get some thrills while he was there.
There were some guys come up to me, what are we going to do tomorrow? I said, well, we got to jump out of airplanes. Oh, no, they're scared, yeah. But I wasn't scared a bit.
How did you propose?
I'm just proposed saying, I love you.
He was wearing my high school class ring when he was in the Army, and when he threw a hand grenade, he threw my ring away with it. So he said, you wrote me a letter. We never talked, we had to write all the time. He wrote me a letter and he says, I lost your ring, but I'm going to buy you a new one when I get home. And so when he came home the next time, his sister took him down to the jewelry store and he picked out my ring, and that was the end of that, or the beginning of it, I guess. then we moved into his mother's house. She had a full apartment upstairs that was empty. She saved for Dick and I, and we lived there for 5 years. I had our two children there, Barry, our oldest, and Tom came in '57. And we had the house that we live in now built in 1958. And after that, we had our two girls, Michelle and Dixie, were born here. No, we had the house built. We bought empty property, and I think we built in '58. I think we bought the property in '59 and had it built, and then in about '84 we had this room added on. And
Chuck helped me there.
yeah, his brother helped a little bit, and we had it roughed in, and then we just finished it ourselves.
And them kids got a pool in our yard. Not many people do that.
Yeah, this house is kind of the gathering place, and the pool was put in when our youngest was a newborn, and she's a grandmother now. So we've had it quite a while, and so many neighbor kids would come over. We say, okay, we'll put a sign out when it's open swim, and kids came, I didn't even know who they were, and every one of them learned to swim here, and it was just part of our life. You know, they just had a good time.
Worked out good.
Yeah, oldest one is Barry. He was born in 1954, and about 2.5 years later, we had Tom in 1957, and we were still living in an apartment at that time. And then we moved out in our house in 1958. 1960, we lost our first baby girl. She was stillborn. And then in '62, we had Michelle. And in '64, we had Dixie. Dixie lives right next door. All our children live within half hour at the most of our place. So it's been great having them here, and they all get along great, and we have a lot of fun times together. His brother Chuck was very outspoken about his faith, and he enticed us to go to hear an evangelist one night, and we did, and that's when Dick gave his life to the Lord. It was, I believe, in 1950, 51, something like that. And God is always faithful. He's always been there for our needs we needed.
Well,
Dick just did most of his witnessing when we went on mission trips,
Oh yeah.
and
Oh, it really worked too.
yeah, so he
We
lives
we get a little round on a round tape, get girls and boys, and I tell them all this stuff, and they all took it,
Yeah.
believed. We always do something there. We don't go and do nothing.
And mostly he would do construction work, carpentry,
Yeah.
and
Bathroom work, we put in tile.
yeah, I made a lot of close friends on those mission trips.
Oh yeah. It's really happy with it. You can just see them smile when we say what. All you gotta do is you listen for Jesus, you know. Mostly cars, working on them, building them, all that, and making the bodies and painting them. Probably have 10 cars I was working on. And my brother Wayne helped getting them out of the place where
Junkyard, you got some.
junkyards, yeah.
But the ones you did here, like your Jaguar, you worked
Jaguar,
on that a long time.
yeah.
What year was that car?
1969,
1969.
yeah,
Mhm.
yep. Took it all and worked on it, painted it.
Burgundy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then you had a little truck, you painted that yellow,
Yeah.
3036 Ford.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, lots of them. 62 MG, that was silver.
Yeah. So that's still around somewhere.
Yeah, Tom has that. Yeah,
Those MGs go fast,
yeah.
right up to 100.
He had to put a V8 in every single car restored. And they told him it's impossible to put a V8 engine in a little MG midget.
Yeah, you know,
He showed him it wasn't
Yeah.
impossible.
they're mostly those old cars are four cylinder. I can do that.
So. Okay.
I'm a bad boy. See that paint? I did that. See that picture up there with the horses? I did that.
Yeah.
Art is the first thing I really liked. In school too. The teacher would give me extra paper just to do art pictures.
Yeah. And our cruises, mostly we did the Caribbean and the Eastern Caribbean. And we just had a lot of fun. A lot of fun on the cruises and just enjoyable time.
You're gonna be 90 years old.
Yeah.
Or 8.
You're gonna be
Oh.
90.
Wow. Well, I don't care. It was a good trip. Gonna see Jesus.
Yeah.
You had a good life.
Oh, yeah.